you help us understand what the flood was like back in 2008 at the Great American Building?
Well, in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in June of 2008, the Cedar River hit a historical high on the as far as the water level, which created a massive flooding of that. Over a course of about a week, the river crested at over 31 feet, and at 10 feet is actually when we get minor flooding in low-lying areas in Cedar Rapids, so you can see the gap is huge.
When did your team learn of the flood? Where were you located at the time?
Well, we're located in the Great American Building, which is about 140,000 square foot multi-tenant office building right on the river. We have a trail, a hill, and then we're right into the river, Cedar River. So actually our staff, part of our staff was on site on the beginning of the week, which was like June 8th, and they were having problems watching and getting weather reports, and we're really supposed to be traveling for training up to our Ryan, Minneapolis office. I was in Ryan, Minneapolis, and received a phone call from a maintenance person who said, we've had a problem going on here and it's not looking good. And of course I didn't believe it. The river does go up and down. It's quite common to have that. Said they are predicting historical flooding. What that meant, we had no idea at the time what that meant, but we knew that we were going to have to go into a crisis mode operation and also take our cues from the monitoring sites and the government and see what was going on. We do have a flood plan for our building, which we've had since the building was built. That was reviewed again. We review it annually, put into action once we received the word that this was going to be a historical flood.
How much water was in the Great American Building?
Well, the Great American Building is an 8-story building, and actually we had 8 feet of water in the lobby for the course of probably 3 days. It came up very quick, went down very quick, but the building and the whole downtown Cedar Rapids was not accessible, so we had to pretty much monitor it by watching the news, which was live feeds for days and days, and we really couldn't tell until we got in there and we could see where the actual water line had hit.
Your business continuity team?
Well, the key members would be our property management group, which would include myself and a couple of our office assistants, and then our maintenance group. We quickly realized that we had to call in our construction folks. They were being called by our clients in some other locations, so they were trying to sandbag in other locations. We also have our own company, has a warehouse that was in actually a lower area that had to be evacuated all this as much as they could. So the other parts of our team, believe it or not, are volunteers from the community that were downtown and everywhere trying to help people, businesses and homes alike. And then also we had some of our tenants were calling us and saying, we'll come down and help you guys get sandbags going. We've got people that they just can't conduct business because they're in a crisis mode or they're shocked. They want to do something. There was no shortage of help from either our tenants, community members, even spouses of our employees were down there sandbagging and putting things into place, whether it was at our building or at other locations that people were asking Ryan to come and support. Probably the biggest obstacle, first of all, is when you have no electricity. And it's not only just electricity in the areas that were flooded. It knocked out electricity that serves many people's homes and other businesses that didn't have flood water anywhere near them. Everything was going down. And so now all of a sudden you're working off of batteries, and you don't realize how much of a shortage there is for batteries for laptops, batteries for cell phones. So we were quickly finding out that we were going to have a hard time communicating unless we could find somewhere to start charging up things. Now, most of the staff's homes had electricity, but there were a lot of people without. So we use cell phones, obviously. Most of us have pre-programmed information in there, so we're ready to call people. We also have pre-programmed our tenants in our phones, so we have those contacts. So we're quickly calling each other, trying to figure out how we're going to best keep people up to date and find out what's going on. The other problem we ran into, which we were able to actually overcome and help, was that we had businesses that had nowhere to go. So they're wanting us to find them space. So we're dealing with a crisis, and we have tenants wanting us, where can we put our offices? Brokers were very busy, and finding places for many, many businesses, including our own company. We had no place to go, we were displaced. And one of our vendors actually put us in an office in one of their buildings, in the back area of their building, and that's where the Ryan office functioned for about, get them back in the building. But we were able to pretty much place everybody, and actually some companies were working on hotels. They had crisis centers set up in hotels and that type of thing. Since then, people have come up with much better plans on how to handle running their businesses if they are not in the building which they office out of.